Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. OBR Daily Mock Draft, trading up for Shedeur Sanders. The 2025 NFL Draft is officially this month, just a little over 3 weeks away. The Cleveland Browns haven't done anything in free agency recently, but did miss out on quarterback Russell Wilson, much to the chagrin of many fans. In this mock draft, the team finds a way to snag the best player in the draft and still walk away with the consensus second-ranked QB. 2. Abdul Carter, edge, Penn State. 6 feet 3 inches 250 pounds. Unfortunately, we won't get to see Carter absolutely demolish athletic testing during this pre-draft process, as he did not participate in Penn State's pro day as he is still rehabbing his shoulder injury, and likely his foot issue as well. He did measure in at 6'3", 250 pounds with 33-inch arms, putting him closely in line with potential future Hall of Famer Von Miller. Carter not testing shouldn't affect his draft stock at all. He is supremely athletic on tape, and will be one of the most dynamic defensive athletes in the league from the moment he is drafted. While there will be no confirmation until draft night, it does seem like the Browns are zeroing in on Carter as their guy at pick number 2, and when watching him, it's easy to see why. He was flat-out dominant last season even against premier competition, and that was his first year playing edge at just 20 years old. The fact that he had elite production despite his inexperience and youth bodes extremely well for his developmental potential, and the Browns would be getting a prospect with an incredibly high ceiling at a high-value position. Yes, Cleveland sincerely needs a quarterback, but Carter is the type of talent you simply cannot pass on, regardless of your situation. The pairing of him and Myles Garrett could single-handedly win the Browns some games while they tread water in search of their franchise QB. Trade. Browns send picks 33, 67 to the Denver Broncos. Browns receive pick 20. In a surprise that seems more and more possible with each passing day, the Browns do not sit pat at 33, and instead package their early third-rounder to move up 13 spots just ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers in order to secure a shot at a franchise QB. 20. Shedeur Sanders, QB, Colorado. 6 feet 1 inch 1/2 inch 212 pounds 9 3/8 inches hand size. If Sanders were to fall this far on draft night, which is possible, and justified considering his actual standing as a prospect, it would be prudent for the Browns to take a swing on him by moving up. Using 33 and 67 to get Sanders does not preclude them from going after a top QB prospect in next year's class if they felt they could upgrade, and Sanders would at minimum give them a chance at the position. He has a below-average arm by NFL starter standards, does not deal well with pressure and poor protection, and comes with personality and leadership concerns, but Sanders is also a cerebral and extremely tough player with elite accuracy. If there's a system where his skill set could be effective, it would be Kevin Stefanski's, and it's worth kicking the tires here to find out if Sanders can overcome his physical limitations to find NFL success. 94. Anthony Belton, OT, North Carolina State. 6 feet 6 inches 336 pounds 33 7/8 inches arm length 83 1/8 inches wingspan 5.26 s 40-yard dash 29.5 inches vertical jump 8 feet 11 inches broad jump 7.77 s 3 cone. In a class where so many college tackles are projected to move inside to guard due to physical limitations, namely arm length or wingspan, Belton is one of the few with prototypical tackle traits. He may not be the most explosive or agile athlete, but he is good enough in those areas, and he brings excellent size and length for the position. He had a very good 2024 season, showcasing surprising foot quickness for a player weighing nearly 340 pounds, along with good power and on-field awareness. With the presence of Cornelius Lucas, Belton would not be relied upon to start immediately, but he has long-term starting LT potential, and would be a good value here at the end of the third round. 104. Damian Martinez, RB, Miami. 5 feet 11 inches 5/8 inch 217 pounds 4.51 s 40-yard dash 35-inch vertical jump 10 feet 4 inches broad jump. Martinez is a big and powerful runner with a punishing playstyle that wears down defenders over the course of a game. He has average speed and explosiveness, but has enough to hit the hole and get what yardage is there, plus the physicality to create yards after contact. He may lack the long speed of someone like Jerome Ford, but he could easily find success spearheading a backfield committee, which is likely what the Browns are aiming to create. DK Metcalf really excited to be a Steeler, Tomlin says in WRDK Metcalf, the Steelers made one of the biggest moves in franchise history, but not via free agency. Metcalf still had 1 year left under contract, so they had to trade for him. Having failed to do so a year prior, they made sure to bring the deal to the finish line. The Steelers sent a second-round pick to the Seahawks, receiving Metcalf in return. They then signed him to a 5-year, $150 million contract, including the first 2 years guaranteed. Not only is it the largest contract in team history and the largest APY for a non-quarterback, the contract also marked the first for an outside player to receive second-year guarantees for the Steelers. While the Steelers were willing to do much to facilitate the acquisition of DK Metcalf, they believe he's worth it. And that's partly because he made it clear that he wants to be here. Yes, he has to hold his own on the football field, but he is also committed to the organization. Our latest videos, his interest in us really made it a fluid endeavor, Steelers HC Mike Tomlin said of trading for Metcalf yesterday. It's great to do business with somebody that's really excited about being a Steeler, and he's expressed that continually, and as are we about him being a part of us. Not that the details don't make it obvious, but the Steelers also really wanted Metcalf. They don't part with second-round picks lightly, nor do they unnecessarily entangle themselves in contract negotiations. In the past, they might sacrifice an opportunity to acquire a player because of their negotiating principles. Part of the reason the Steelers were willing to do that for Metcalf, though, was because of his commitment. If he was prepared to commit as a Steeler, they were prepared to commit on their end. Now they have the next 5 years to make the most of it. Of course, at the moment, the Steelers are still trying to figure out who will be throwing Metcalf the ball. Signs point to that being Aaron Rodgers, but until he signs a contract, it is a mere assumption. In fact, their new wide receiver has been a part of the recruitment process. Over the weekend, DK Metcalf worked out with his potential future Steelers quarterback, both already training out west. While the proximity may have been coincidental, the actual arrangement was not. This is the first and likely only opportunity for Rodgers to experience free agency. Apparently, he is trying to do due diligence at every turn to make sure the Steelers are a fit. Having Metcalf will help land Rodgers, but the Steelers will have him for longer than that. Presumably, if they do find a franchise quarterback during his time here, it will be via the draft. Hopefully, then, they will have at least 3 or 4 years together. If not longer. NFL Insider reveals latest step in Steelers securing Aaron Rodgers, report. There was more positive news regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers' pursuit of Aaron Rodgers on March 31, as NFL Network insider Mike Garafolo reported that Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf had a throwing session over the weekend. Garafolo revealed this bit of information on NFL Network's Good Morning Football, referring to the UCLA throwing session as the latest step in the free agency process for Rodgers as he evaluates the Steelers' interest in him. So, Rodgers going through the process and checking all the boxes, and I assume it was a good throwing session there, at UCLA, Garafolo added, as colleague and fellow insider Ian Rappaport interjected that it sounded good. Later, on March 31, Rappaport confirmed that this meeting between Rodgers and Metcalf was not a coincidence during a spot with the Pat McAfee show, calling it a planned throwing session. He also noted that it went very well, and was lengthy. Rappaport went on to reiterate that this is all part of Rodgers' process, considering this could be the final NFL stop of his long and illustrious career. It wasn't much of a secret, Rappaport concluded, regarding the throwing session. But it was at UCLA, it did go well, it was part of the process for Rodgers to say, all right, maybe this is my eventual destination, and it seems to me, unless the Minnesota Vikings do a complete about-face from what they've said publicly, the Steelers would be his only spot. So, it feels like a matter of time, but as you probably know, getting in the head of Aaron Rodgers and trying to figure out what he's up to is difficult. Steelers GM Omar Khan comments on reported Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf throwing session. Steelers general manager Omar Khan was also asked about this throwing session on the morning of March 31st. Per ESPN Pittsburgh beat reporter Brooke Pryor, he responded, "I wasn't there, but that's good. If that did happen, I'd say that." Khan had a similar take on Rodgers' visit of team facilities earlier in the month, which sort of echoed head coach Mike Tomlin's comments from March 30th. It was positive, Khan said of the Rodgers visit, via Pryor. "I thought it was important for us to get to know him and for him to get to know us, and I'm glad we were part of it." There were a couple of negative rumors that sprouted up last week, hinting that Rodgers could potentially retire or wait out the Vikings, but things appear to be looking up for Pittsburgh following the NFL owners' meeting. All indications point to Rodgers eventually signing with the Steelers. Right now, it just feels like a matter of time. Steelers could sign veteran QB if Aaron Rodgers chooses to retire or snub Pittsburgh. In the unlikely event that Rodgers does snub the Steelers, choosing to retire or pursue a quarterback job with another franchise, Pittsburgh noted that they do plan on signing another veteran QB either way. "We always go to training camp with 4 quarterbacks and we have 2 under contract right now," Khan stated on March 31st, via Pryor, "so all options are on the table through free agency, trade or draft, obviously." Per The Athletic's Mike DeFabua, Khan also confirmed that it's a safe assumption that the Steelers will add either Rodgers or an alternative veteran signal caller between now and Week 1. Outside of Rodgers, potential veteran QB options could include a free agent like Joe Flacco or Carson Wentz, or a trade target like Kirk Cousins or Will Levis. Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson are the 2 aforementioned quarterbacks who are already under contract. Are you a fan? What do you think about Aaron Rodgers' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.